Hi everyone, and welcome to the Book Refuge, and welcome to the next installment in my Outlander series videos. This is a series I'm putting out on Saturdays, probably like every other Saturday, about comparing. First I'm doing book reviews for the Outlander books, and then I am comparing them with said season of the show. I'll be doing that for the next few months. If this is the first one you've showed, you can check up here to see the previous videos that I've put out in this series. I hope you enjoy them. This is something that I'm doing for me, and I hope you guys will love it as well. And today we are doing the review of season 1 and comparing it with the books. I am comparing it with the books. I don't care that it's an adaptation. I know all the things people are going to say. That's what these videos are going to be about, because it's important to me to see how well they connect. I know that there are people who always say it's just an adaptation. They can do what they want. They don't have to stick to the source material, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. That is totally valid. I just want to talk about the things that are as close to the book and the things that maybe I didn't like so much. If you're looking for people to be more fair about it, you can find somebody else. I'm an Outlander fangirl. I have been for like 4 years now, and I'm going to stick to my guns and say the things I want. So anyway, enough of that sassiness. Let's go ahead and jump in. The way I'm going to do these like TV book comparison videos is I'm going to go over the pros of it, like the things I think they did the best on, which in season 1 is a lot. And then I'll go over things that were missing that I think should have been there, or things that they put in that I wish they wouldn't have. So that's going to be the kind of the breakdown of this. So first, let's start with the pros, okay? Let's start with the fact that these actors are freaking amazing. I'm a little bit biased because, as I said in a previous video, I actually came across the TV show first. I saw the first half of Outlander season 1 before I read the book. The second half wasn't out yet, and that's what pushed me into the books, because I was like, oh my god, I have to know, because there's a horrible cliffhanger at the end of that. And I was enthralled. And for the most part, I was actually a little bit bored during the first half of the book because it was so much like it. There's a lot of filling in, and first time through the series, I didn't enjoy all of her fill-in things as much as I would later on. And as I'm enjoying in this reread, I'm enjoying the extra things, and I love that. It reminds me a little bit of like Robert Jordan, in how in the first couple books I felt like he over-explained everything, but you know that upon reread you're gonna like this stuff. That's how it would feel about Outlander as well. Diana's writing is amazing. Sam Heughan and Katrina Balfe, they are Jamie and Claire to me. They are who I see in my head. I view their I won't talk about that. Some things about them I don't view the same, but for the most part, besides height differences, I think they're perfect. And I'm not one of the people that I need an actor do 1000% look exactly like I want. I am more interested in that you bring me the soul of that character. That's what I want to see in my book to TV, book to movie adaptations. I want the soul of the character I love to be the same, because in a book, that's who I fall in love with, is the soul of the character. So for me, I feel like they really do that. And especially even like Blackjack / Frank. I love Tobias Menzies. He is terrifying and fantastic. I really love Jenny. I can't remember the actress who plays her right now. I think it's Laura something. She is Jenny to me. Oh my word, just every part of her is Jenny to me, especially when I was like rereading. I was like, oh my god, this is her. This is so her. Those are the characters that stand out the most. Colum and Dougal are amazing. There's so many good actors in here. Galis Duncan. The actors across the board are the single best part of the show for me. They take the soul of my characters and bring it alive. And for me, when I read the books, I picture those people, and it fills out the story for me. You know, all the things I love about the book that aren't in the show, when I read the book now, I can put them in there. Like, I see them in there. And I love that, because it just gives me this double experience that's so amazing, that the characters I love live a life that I don't get to see in the show, but I can experience in the books. So the actors are freaking fabulous. Sam Heughan, he is such a good actor. You watch him in interviews and he's just this totally cool Scottish dude, and then you see him as Jamie and you're like, instant, most gorgeous, perfect, wonderful man ever. Even when they do crazy stuff with his hair, because they do crazy crap with his hair all the time, but it's okay. He is a dreamboat and he's amazing, and I love him so much, and I'm so excited to have, you know, Jamie and Claire portrayed by such amazing people. Next, the storyline. The storyline in the first season is like 95% accurate in my humble opinion, except for a few things we'll mention later. I don't actually have a lot to comment on it other than I think they do amazing. Like, really, I just don't have any quibbles except for so I will point this out, this is a spoiler review. The biggest problem I have is kind of how they end the first season. And so I understand that. I'm talking about pros though. Should I jump in with this? I will, because it is relevant to storyline. The way things end in the show, there are a lot more left in the balance. And I understand that purpose because, well, I think they knew they were getting a second season at this point. Yeah, they did. They knew they were getting the second season at this point and that they were going to Paris and going to do all that stuff. But they left it more open-ended with their relationship. Like, we find out about the baby, but Jamie still doesn't want to really be like touched or hugged or comforted yet. Totally understandable. And I understand why the TV show needs to make that break a little bigger, because we don't have the luxury of Diana skips time. Like, they're at the Abbey for a long time and they're already in France actually, because the Abbey's in France, it's not in Scotland. So they're already safe and they have time. And so in the book, they actually get past the first time having sex again. It's really a beautiful scene where Claire understands that Jamie can't lose this, because it's such an integral part of their relationship and who he is as a man, that if he lost the ability to be able to have sex with his wife, that he wouldn't see the reason to live anymore. And that's really dramatic. I understand, but also for Jamie's character, it's completely believable to me and completely acceptable that he would struggle with that. And so in the book, they have this beautiful, painful scene where Jamie drags himself to her bed. She literally helps him up on top of her, and they're able to reconsummate their relationship after the horrors that have happened to him. And it's painful and bittersweet. But they know, like, if he can do this, if he's able to complete this, it will be okay. Like, he's not fixed, it's not done. It doesn't mean it's good to go. But if he can do this, then they can work it out. And I love that in the book, that's what we end on. We end on this hopeful moment of they're able to be together still, and now they can plan their future. And she doesn't have to go back through the stones, which is what he's really pushing her to do at the end of the book. Also, yeah, so in the TV show, it doesn't end with that. They end at the point where he doesn't want to kill himself, like he's willing to continue life, but they don't reconsummate their relationship yet, and it leaves this very deep divide that's both physical and emotional, and they're like back to being strangers. And I understand leaving that as a cliffhanger in the show, but I don't really like it, because I would have appreciated more if they had fixed some of that. So again, I understand it, but this is a review and these are my feelings. And for me, that scene in the cave, that scene at night when he comes to her, those are integral to their relationship for me. And I might feel different if they changed it in the show. Like, I don't want to spoil second season stuff, but if they had their first time in the show be different, but I don't think that it gives me the same thing that I want to have out of that scene. Anyway, okay, moving along. Pros, the bad guy. Okay, I think you will struggle to find a more evil human being than Blackjack Randall. Maybe some Game of Thrones villains, maybe some real life villains, but a fictional villain, Blackjack Randall takes the cake. He is terrifying. Tobias Menzies plays him to perfection. He has you guessing. Like, I think of the episode The Garrison Commander, when he just has Claire on the hook and he's trying to get info from her and he's just playing the right notes. He acts remorseful and she wants to believe him. And he thinks he's just manipulating her on one level, like that he's getting this soft woman to feel compassion for him, but she wants to believe him. This is the ancestor of her first husband, of someone she really loves, who looks exactly like him. And she wants him to have good somewhere. And he hasn't, raped Jamie at this point. He's beat him. That happened. But he really plays with her. And Tobias Menzies does that in such a believable way. Like, you just are chilled. You are chilled. He's a terrifying villain. And Tobias Menzies deserves all the props he can get, because that's a thankless role. And I believe that some other I'll get to my cons in a little bit. I think the writers and makers give Blackjack more than he should have, because Tobias Menzies is amazing, So I respect it, even if I don't totally love it. Next, Scotland. The setting of this is gorgeous. It was really filmed in Scotland. All of the seasons have, except for different parts of different seasons. And it's gorgeous. You will feel like you're there. You can feel the damp. You can feel the beauty. You can see the majesty. There's scenes in the intro credits where in every season where they are, Claire and Jamie are riding their horse over these hills, and it's just heartbreaking. So have to mention that. The setting and whatever is integral to this show, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It's just landscape porn. It's amazing. And then finally on my pro list is the pacing of it. I really do like that. As I said in my, it's kind of like a double standard for this, but as I said in my review for the book, I really liked how much time it took to do things and how we really got to know the characters really well. Well, you don't have that time in a TV show. And I really enjoyed the pacing. I think there are a few episodes where it still drags, and I wish they would have focused on other things during those episodes, maybe. But overall, they keep a real good pace of, like, there's a good cliffhanger at the end of every episode. There's, like, we're hitting important story beats. And for the most part, I think the first season does a great job of, like, keeping you watching. I think the weakest part is some stuff in the first half when you're, like, building up to the wedding, because we all just want to get there. But when you're watching it upon rewatch, that will be more clear of, like, we're building the relationships, we're building Claire's knowledge of what's going on, we're building that up. And then everyone feels the same way about the search. Like, nobody likes that. But that part of the book is stupid too. Not stupid, I didn't say that. Is dull as well. But again, we're trying to show that so much time has passed. Like, it's been, her total time in this area has been like 6 months. It's not a quick amount of time. And Jamie is in jail and gone for a really long time. And so that episode is painful, but it should be. We should feel that absence of him, and we do. And I think they do a great job of pacing for 90% of the first season. And it's so good. I love it. So those are the main things that I love about the comparison. And now I'm going to, like, nitpick just a little. None of these things are major, as they will be for future seasons. But in this case, there's just a few things. So one of the things that's missing for me is I don't feel as in love with Claire in this first season as I do in the first book. And they try to make you feel that by the voiceover, and I understand the purpose of the voiceovers, but the voiceovers get so annoying, even though they are important, because Claire, the entire Outlander is a first-person narrative, and there's so many things that Claire's thinking and deducing in her head, and if we didn't have that voiceover, we would be confused. So I understand the purpose. But I think in some ways it makes her come off a little more clinical and separated than it does in the book. And I think that for some people, their first time through the TV series will feel a little bit disconnected from Claire and not be able to latch onto her the same way as I was able to in the book. And so also, and I'll say this a lot when we talk about Dragonfly and Amber's season, is because of that pacing where they truncate some things, we miss a lot of the parts where we get to see like the smoothness of her character, and like, you know, a lot of the things that like build my love for her are missing. A lot of the conversations that build her intelligence in your eyes and my connection with her are missing. And that's just because they had to trunk it down. So you see more of the conflict than you get to see of people getting along. Boy, am I going to talk about that later on. So that's something that is a con for me, just because Claire is one of my favorite heroines in fiction, and I don't think it always comes across in the first season. And going along with that, I think we miss out a little bit on the connection between Jamie and Claire, because we have to show a lot more of their conflict than we do of them getting along. They're like always fighting about something. They're always bickering about something. And I think we miss some of the quieter times with them. There's a lot of those where we really get to know Jamie. Jamie tells her lots of stories. She tells him stories. There's a lot of this time where they've like built up this beautiful relationship, and we just have to miss it because of pacing, but it's okay. That's a small one. And then finally, probably my like biggest one is glossing over Frank's faults. So again, as I said, it's not that I wanted him to come out of the gate as such a jerk, but if you read the first book and you read the part of the book that correlates with the first episode of the show, they definitely make Frank seem more romantic and kind than he is. And I think that if we were to see a whole story with with Frank and Claire, and if there hadn't been this situation that breaks them up in this, I think that they would have been divorced in a few years, just being honest. Maybe not right away, because of the time period, it wasn't as acceptable. But these are two people that they had a little bit of a whirlwind connection in the beginning. They got married when Claire was only 19, and then they spent 7 years away from each other. And upon them getting back together, they both know that they've probably connected with other people during the war. It's a really dramatic time. There's lots of things going on. And they're worried, Frank specifically, about infidelity, which to me, the fact that you're worried your wife was, not faithful to you makes me think that he wasn't faithful to her. And they only got to see each other like 3 or 4 times over a 7-year period. And they're just really different. He's very dismissive of her. He's a little bit rude. He's, kind of treats her like she's dumb a couple times. And it's really subtle. Like, it's not outright there. But I just have a feeling that if these two hadn't had anything in their way, that their life would have been mediocre at best. And not that that is a reason for cheating, but Claire never cheats on him. She is forcibly married to someone else to keep herself from death. So I will say I'm not holding that as a thing at all. But I think they make him more sympathetic than he is, because in the book, I just want her to forget him. And I know that's not fair, whatever. These are my feelings. My feelings are the show works to make him more sympathetic, to make her have a bigger reason not to go home. And I think in the book, there's enough reason. Like, this place is dangerous. She's been assaulted a couple times. Someone has tried to rape her a couple times. She's seen what happens to women there. She realizes that her being intelligent and having a skill isn't wanted by these people there. There's enough reasons for her to want to go back to her nice, safe husband than by making him so likable. You know what I mean? And having it seem like the only reason she's staying with Jamie is they have really great sex, I feel like doesn't show that she's really found someone who completely loves her. And she's found someone who's very, for the most part, very progressive thinking. Like, there's still things that Jamie's not okay with just because of the time he's born in, but he's very progressive for his time and gives his wife a lot of latitude and a lot of respect just because he's a great guy. And if you were to compare these two people in the time that Claire was from, Jamie would still be the better person for her. It's not just because she got thrown back in time and was forced to marry him. He was meant to be the person for her. And there's some scenes in it where they make Frank more sympathetic and more lovable, and they throw him in at different points so you remember him. And then it ends with him trying to do some desperate things to like get her back. And I just don't care about Frank. And I wish the TV show didn't care about him as much as they do either, because it's been said by the people who made the show that they like Frank. And, you know, they like Tobias Menzies, so they do these things. I'm like, the actor's fabulous. I agree, but I don't agree with making Frank more sympathetic, especially someone who's read all the book series and I know more things about him. And in each continuous series, they make him sympathetic, and it bothers me. So anyway, well, that's enough ranting. As you can tell, my quibbles are very minor, and I adore this series so much. I love the show. It's what sparked this entire passion for me, and I hope you're enjoying these videos. The next video I do will be my spoiler review for the book Dragonfly and Amber. And then a month from now, you'll get to see my TV show comparison for season 2 of Outlander with Dragonfly and Amber. So thank you so much for watching. I put up new videos every Monday and Thursday normally, and these are my bonus videos. And you can watch some more of my videos right now.